The courtroom erupted into laughter. Not because of the judge, not because of me, because of my husband. He looked straight into my eyes, smiled, and said, "Good luck surviving without me." 10 minutes later, the entire room went silent. My name is Sophia Carter. For 12 years, I thought I had the perfect marriage. Maybe not perfect, but real, or so I believed. When I met Ethan, he was charming, funny, confident. He always said, "I'll take care of you." And for years, I believed him. I worked as a graphic designer from home. He ran a successful construction company. At least, that's what he wanted everyone to think. One Friday evening, he came home unusually cheerful. He placed a stack of papers on the kitchen table. "Sign these." I frowned. "What are they?" He smiled. "Divorce papers." I laughed, thinking it was a joke. It wasn't. "I've already hired the best lawyer in the city." He poured himself a glass of wine. "You'll never win." I felt my heart sink. 12 years? And this is how it ends? He shrugged. "I've already moved on." Then he added, "Oh, you can keep the old car. I don't need it anymore." 3 days later, I discovered why he seemed so confident. A photo appeared online. Ethan holding hands with a woman who couldn't have been older than 25. The caption read, "Starting my new life with the love of my dreams." The post had hundreds of comments. People congratulated him. Some even called him inspiring. I closed my phone without saying a word. A week later, we met at his lawyer's office. His attorney slid a thick folder across the table. "Mrs. Carter, our client is willing to be generous. You may keep your personal belongings and receive one payment of $15,000. I looked up. 12 years of marriage? That's your offer? Ethan leaned back in his chair. "You should take it. It's more than you're worth." His lawyer smiled confidently. "My client owns nearly everything. The house, the company, the investments, the luxury cars. You have very little chance in court." I quietly closed the folder. "Then, I'll see you in court." Ethan laughed, a loud, mocking laugh. "You still don't understand, do you? When this is over, you'll have nothing." I stood up, looked him directly in the eyes, and smiled. "You seem awfully confident for someone who has never asked what I actually own." His smile faded, just for a second. The smile disappeared from Ethan's face. "What do you mean?" I simply picked up my purse. "We'll let the judge answer that." Then I walked out. For the first time, he looked uncertain. The next few weeks were exhausting. His lawyer demanded financial records, bank statements, tax returns, investment reports. I handed over everything they requested, without hesitation, without argument. That seemed to bother them. One afternoon, my attorney called. "Sophia, I have to ask, why didn't you tell me?" "Tell you what?" "About your grandfather." I frowned. "What about him?" There was a long pause. "Your grandfather founded Carter Technologies." I smiled softly. "I know. And?" My lawyer almost laughed. "Sophia, do you have any idea what your shares are worth today?" I opened my laptop. The company had gone public years ago. My grandfather had left me a small percentage before he passed away. I had never sold a single share. Honestly, I had almost forgotten they existed. I logged into my investment account. The screen loaded. Then, a number appeared. I blinked, looked again. No, that couldn't be right. My lawyer broke the silence. "You're looking at it now, aren't you?" I whispered, "Is this real?" He chuckled. "I verified it twice. The value increased dramatically over the last 5 years." I couldn't speak. For 12 years, I had lived comfortably, but modestly, completely unaware that I had quietly become one of the wealthiest people in the city. Then my lawyer asked, "Does Ethan know?" I smiled. No. He always assumed I needed him. 3 days later, the first court hearing began. Ethan arrived wearing an expensive suit. His new girlfriend sat proudly behind him. He walked past me, smirked, and whispered, "Ready to lose everything?" I looked at him, completely calm. "I guess we'll both learn something today." The judge entered. Everyone stood. The hearing began. Ethan's lawyer confidently presented his case. "My client built his business from nothing. He supported his wife financially throughout the marriage. Mrs. Carter has very limited assets." Several people nodded. Ethan smiled again, certain he had already won. Then the judge opened a thick financial report. He adjusted his glasses, looked first at me, then at Ethan, and asked one unexpected question. "Mr. Carter, did you know your wife owns nearly 8% of Carter Technologies?" Ethan frowned. "What?" The judge continued reading. His expression slowly changed. The entire courtroom leaned forward. The courtroom became completely silent. Ethan laughed nervously. "There must be some mistake. My wife doesn't own a company." The judge looked down at the documents. "I'm not talking about owning the company. I'm talking about owning part of it." Ethan's attorney stood up. "Your Honor, may I review those documents?" The judge handed him the report. As the lawyer read, his confident smile slowly disappeared. He turned another page, then another. Finally, he looked at Ethan. "We have a problem." Ethan frowned. "What problem?" His lawyer leaned closer. "You never disclosed this." "I didn't know," Ethan whispered. The lawyer sighed. "Neither did I." The judge continued. "Mrs. Carter inherited these shares from her late grandfather. According to today's market value, they are worth—" He paused. The courtroom waited. "Approximately $186 million. Someone in the audience gasped. Even the court reporter looked up. Ethan stared at me. "No, that's impossible." I quietly replied, "I never checked." He shook his head. "You expect me to believe you forgot you are worth hundreds of millions of dollars?" I shrugged. "My grandfather told me, never sell unless you truly need to. I never needed to." His new girlfriend slowly lowered her phone. The smile she'd worn all morning was gone. She whispered, "Ethan, you told me she was broke." He couldn't answer. He just kept staring at me. Then the judge asked another question. "Mrs. Carter, have any of these assets ever been used to support Mr. Carter's business?" My attorney stood. "No, Your Honor. Every business loan, every mortgage, every expense was paid without using a single dollar from Mrs. Carter's inheritance." The judge nodded. "So these assets remain separate property." Ethan's lawyer closed the file. He knew exactly what that meant. Everything his client had planned had just fallen apart. The man who walked into court expecting to take everything had just discovered he had been married to someone far wealthier than he could have ever imagined. Then the judge looked at one final document. His eyebrows rose. He looked directly at Ethan. "Mr. Carter, there's another issue we need to discuss." Ethan swallowed hard. "What issue?" The judge slowly slid a bank statement across the table. "This transfer, I don't believe it's legal." The judge placed the bank statement on the bench. "Mr. Carter, can you explain this transfer?" Ethan glanced at the document. His face instantly lost its color. It's a business expense." The judge wasn't convinced. $5 million, transferred to a private account 2 weeks before filing for divorce? That doesn't look like a normal business expense. His attorney quickly stood. "Your Honor, my client can explain." The judge nodded. "Please do." Ethan swallowed. "It was an investment." The judge looked at another document. "No, It was transferred to an account registered in your girlfriend's name. The courtroom erupted in whispers. His girlfriend shot to her feet. What? You told me it was a bonus. Ethan looked horrified. Sit down. She didn't. You said the money was yours. You said everything was legal. The judge struck the gavel. Order. Sophia remained silent. She simply watched. For weeks, Ethan had treated the divorce like a victory lap. Now, everything was falling apart, one document at a time. The judge turned to Ethan's attorney. Were you aware of these transfers? The attorney sighed. No, Your Honor, I was not. He slowly removed his glasses, then looked at Ethan. You never told me. Ethan couldn't even look at him. After reviewing the evidence, the judge made his decision. Mrs. Carter's inherited assets remain entirely hers. They are not subject to division. He paused. Furthermore, the court finds evidence that Mr. Carter attempted to hide marital assets before these proceedings. The room became silent again. As a result, the court orders a full forensic audit of Mr. Carter's finances. 3 months later, the audit was complete. Millions of dollars in hidden transfers had been uncovered. Ethan was forced to repay substantial sums. His construction company lost several major contracts. Within a year, it filed for bankruptcy. The woman he had left for Sophia walked away shortly afterward. Sophia's life changed too, not because of the money. She had already been wealthy. She simply hadn't realized it. Instead of buying luxury cars or a mansion, she established a foundation that helped women rebuild their lives after abusive or financially controlling relationships. Hundreds of families received legal aid, emergency housing, and a second chance. Months later, Sophia walked past the same courthouse where Ethan had once laughed in her face. She remembered his words, "You'll have nothing." She smiled. He had been wrong, not because she was worth millions, but because her greatest wealth had never been in her bank account. It was her dignity, her independence, and the courage to walk away from someone who never truly valued her. Sometimes, the biggest victory isn't proving someone wrong. It's proving to yourself that you never needed their permission to succeed.